Here we are with the web-based version of SketchUp, and I'm going to, in this video, take you through all of the different commands, how you can use it, saving files, just kind of a quick but comprehensive introduction. Within the YouTube video, there will be a table of contents. It might be 20-30 different topics by the time we get done, and so you'll want to click on the Show More link in the YouTube description so that you can find just what you want when you want it and when you need it. You can go ahead and just click on Start Modeling if you want, or you can open an existing file from your computer. I am using the Trimble Connect version, or the free version if you're using it for education through your Google for Education account. Then you'll be hooked up to Google Drive. We can create a new file in feet and inches, millimeters, or meters, and these can be changed later on if you get into your model and change your mind, although that's usually pretty rare. The handiest way to take a quick look at the interface, I think, is just to go ahead and click on the tour, and I'll just talk about these different items. Across the top here, this takes you back and forth to the home screen that we were just on, switch back and forth for your model, that sort of thing. The model name is going to be untitled. When you click on it, it'll give you the prompt to save it. This is your save button. The web version does not autosave as far as I know, so go ahead and get in the habit of clicking that every now and then. And then this is just your model menu. Over on the side, they have all these different icons, and I'm not a huge fan of them, so I like to use a lot of keyboard shortcuts. The desktop version of SketchUp does not have nested menus like this does. For example, if you click here on arcs, it's going to spill out 3 or 4 different arc commands, and I find that just a little cumbersome, but it's what we've got. So between keyboard shortcuts and these toolbars over on the left, you can do just about everything that you can do with the desktop version of SketchUp version with this web version. Over on the other side, you have these different panels. We'll go through each of these. They work pretty much like the desktop version. There's a few differences, but we'll go through those one at a time. Down below here, redo, undo, help, just some basic stuff. Don't use those very often. But this one down here in the lower right corner is one that you have to keep your eyeballs peeled on all the time. This is where you can put in measurements, number of sides of a polygon. It's where you'll get your answer if you're using the tape measure tool, that sort of thing. So make sure your browser window is not zoomed in so far that you can't see this measurement dialog box. Before we get started, I want to take a look at some of these panels on the right. Some of them we'll get into in much greater detail later on, but for now there's a couple that are going to be important. First of all is the entity info. Now nothing is selected. An entity could be a line, it could be face, it could be a solid. Just about anything that you can draw, you can find out the information on that entity. The outliner is pretty awesome. It's used for organizing and seeing the hierarchy of components. And we'll get into components later on, but the more that your model gets complicated, the more you're going to want to organize it. So if you're building a house, maybe the roof will be one component, the exterior walls will be one component, etc. Unfortunately, that is now something you have to pay for. So that goes bye-bye, at least with the web version. This is the instructor. And the instructor is great. I'm going to leave this one open. It gives you a brief definition of what each tool does, and then it gives you the modifier key. So for example, if you are selecting something and hold down the option key, you can add to your selections. These are components. I was just talking about components, and so this will be where we'll keep them organized the best we can. These are materials. Typically when you draw, the faces are going to be light gray or dark gray. And here's where you can go in and put bricks on the side of your house or tiles on the roof of your house, that sort of thing. These are drawing styles. For right now, we're just going to stay with the default. These are layers. Again, to begin with, at least in this lesson, we're just going to go ahead and stay with the one default layer. You can think of layers, though, as clear sheets of plastic that you draw on. For example, if you're drawing a house, you might have all your windows in a particular layer, that sort of thing. These are views. Now we're going to use this one quite a bit. So let's just go ahead and quickly make some geometry here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we've got a really basic house, and these two primary views over here are pretty important. Now the house isn't changing shape, but this view right here is that perspective or kind of 3D view that your art teacher told you about, where all of the lines go back off into the distance into a single vanishing point. So if we click on this line and extend it out, and then click on this one here and extend it out, these lines here, it looks like they're getting closer the farther that they extend. If we come into parallel projection though, everything is parallel. So that's the way I like to draw. Other people love perspective. Again, your model doesn't change. It's still the same shape, it's still the same size, faces are still parallel to each other. It's just a matter of preference. And then we have these different primary views here. Here you have an isometric view, front view, another isometric view, side view, top view. I use that one a lot. This one's another side view. Here's a different isometric, like that. So you click in those different corners, and I guess this would be the front here because it has a little door on it, although that is a relatively subjective term. So views we'll be using quite a bit. This is the display. This is where you can turn off certain things like the axes. You can see them coming and going. These are the red, green, and blue axes. You can turn off visibility for your guidelines. Section cuts, we'll get into that later too. And then this, what's this one here? Oh, model info. Okay, this is an important one that will open from time to time. So when you start your drawing in basic feet and inches, here you can say, okay, I want fractional inches, or I want decimal inches, or I want decimal feet. So if I say that I want decimal feet, so if I wanted 12 feet 6 inches, I'd put in 12.5. And then you can decide how much precision you want. So this would be no units after to the right of the decimal point. This one looks like it'd be about 5 units. So you can be very, very precise if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and close these and open up what I think are the important ones. Let's see here. Okay, so what did we decide? We wanted our views, and I'm not used to the icons here, but I think it's that one. Yep. And then we want the little graduation cap. And so we will have these two open, and I think that'll give us a good start. So we'll move on to the line tool next. Okay, lots to unpack here with the line tool because you draw so many lines within SketchUp. So seems fairly simple. I'm going to try to cover quite a bit of information here. So just bear with me. When you click on this, you get two different icons. First of all is the pencil for the line tool. The keyboard shortcut for that is L. So with the line tool selected, it's generally a good practice to start at the origin where the X, Y, and Z or blue, green, and red axes meet. And as I mouse along, I can draw this line just about anywhere, but we're going to want to try to be careful. And let me just try here to show you why for just a moment. So I'm going to draw what kind of looks like no, we'll just draw that shape right there. And I'm sure you probably think you know what it looks like in your mind. But if we orbit around, see, it's not quite what you expected, is it? And that's because we didn't stay or use the tools that SketchUp gives us. So what you want to do when you draw the line tool is try, if you're working with parallel lines, try to get started along the green axis, and it'll prompt you to do that. It knows that that is going to help you out. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw this line out here like so. Now, how long is that line? Well, if I look down in the measurements dialog box, I can see I drew that line too many units there, but exactly 15 feet long. Now, what if I wanted a 13-foot line instead? a lot of software that you've been using would prompt you to go down and delete the 15 and type in a 13. But if you do that with SketchUp, you're going to be goofed up. You never type anything into the measurement dialog box. It is simply there to tell you what you've already done. However, if you don't click anywhere else, if I just type in a 1 and a 3 and hit enter, watch what happens to the line. It's now 13 feet long. Say I want to come across here parallel to the red axis. Say I want it to be 5 feet. Remember, we're working in feet, so all I need to do is type in 5 and hit enter. Now I'm going to come back down and say I want to come over 3 feet, but I want to put in inches instead. I could type in, say, 27 inches, but I have to type in the inch symbol because we're working in feet. So there's 27 inches. I can come across here now parallel to the red axis, and I'll just click that 6 feet. I can come down here. Actually, I'm going to show you this. I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I think this is kind of cool. Say if I want this to come halfway down but meet up with the midpoint along this line. Well, if I just mouse, right now it tells me that if I left click, it is going to put that endpoint on that line segment. But if I mouse down carefully, see, it changes to midpoint snap. So I have now, without having to do any math and figure out whatever half of 13 feet is here, I can do that. I can just go ahead and continue to draw parallel. And every time I complete a watertight series of line segments, that is, they're all connected and create a closed surface, we get what's called a face. So there's the face there, and there's a face there. So it fills that geometry in for you. So instead of having one-dimensional lines, we've now got two-dimensional objects. One more thing to show you here, and this is, again, another great helper tool for SketchUp. I'm going to continue my line, zoom in here a little bit, and say I want to continue this line right along here. I want to lengthen it. I can go ahead and just click anywhere on the line and just mouse along it. See that purple that kind of shows up? Ah, there we go. So you don't have to be super careful, but as long as you've got purple or kind of this pinkish color, when you click, that will make the new line segment that I just created collinear with this segment right here. Now, let's go ahead and erase this, and to do that, I'm just going to left click and drag a box around everything and hit delete. I'm going to go to a top view here and show you the freehand tool. That's the second kind, and you don't use it very often, but I want to show you what it does. So I'm just going to come in here and create a real squiggly line. And what happens when you do that is that it doesn't really make curves. It just makes a bunch of straight line segments and then groups them together. So if I want to edit this, I have to right click and explode that curve. And now I can select the individual line segments. I will be talking about this quite a bit during this series, and that is SketchUp is incapable of drawing pure curves or circles. All SketchUp can do is draw straight line segments. And so if you want to draw a circle, you can, and it looks like a circle on your screen, but if you zoom in, you'll see that it's actually individual line segments that are connected together into a group. So that's not a huge limitation, but it's one of the things that allows SketchUp to go ahead and draw complicated geometry without being too taxing on your computer. So that's the line tool. I think we'll go ahead and talk about selecting and the erase tool next. Okay, here we're going to talk about erasing and, more importantly, selecting. So I've taken and drawn just a whole bunch of identical rectangular solids. And I can select any of these by just using the select tool or the arrow tool. And by the way, the keyboard shortcut for that is the space bar. So if I'm in the line tool like this and I want to switch to the select tool, I can come over and click on this arrow, but what's much quicker is just to hit your space bar. And then you can select geometry and go ahead and delete it. Now there's actually three different ways that I can select any of the geometry here. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. So if I just single click, I can click a line segment, or I can select a face and select this face. I can select this line segment. If I want to select two line segments, I hold down my shift key. I can select this line segment, this one, and this one. So that's one way to select things, but it's really not very efficient. So if I wanted to select, for example, and by the way, just clicking anywhere outside of any geometry or anything that exists in this drawing, you can just, if you just click outside, you'll go ahead and deselect everything. So if I want to just go ahead and select this one corner rectangular solid, I can do a couple of things. One is if I just click once, it will go ahead and select whatever I click on. If I click in the middle of a face, it selects the face. If I double click, it selects the face and the line segments that enclose that face. And if I triple click, it selects everything that is connected there. I kind of got lost in space there a little bit, so I did a zoom extents. So I'll show you how you can select the entire rectangular solid a different way. I'll tap on my space bar and I'll just go ahead and circle it with the mouse. And there it's selected. Go back up to the top here and I'll show you the difference between selecting from top left to lower right and vice versa. So if I come in and select all of these like this, you would expect them to go ahead and select everything, and it does. So I'll just click outside here, but watch this. If I just select here, it only grabs the geometry that is entirely enclosed or was inside that selection box. If I want to instead, if I go from right to left, it grabs anything that that selection box touches. I'll do that again. I'll come down here and do it, and it just selects anything that's touched. I'll do it the other way, and notice it's not going to select the vertical line segments because they are not completely enclosed around the selection box. So I'll go ahead and let go of the mouse, and you notice that it just goes ahead and grabs the front faces because they were completely inside there. Go ahead and practice with that and you'll see that it works pretty cool. Okay, I had to go ahead and save my file because my mouse wheel stopped responding, and I knew that if I refresh the page that I'd lose my work. So I saved it as columns, even though I misspelled it, but that's okay as long as I can find it and I know where it is. So let's get back to how we can erase. The eraser tool just allows you to click individually and erase elements. And it's just about that easy. Now, you can take and hold down the left mouse button and just sort of paint different line segments, and when you let go of the button, the left mouse button, it erases that geometry. So I use a combination. I'll use the erase tool, which keyboard shortcut is E, or more commonly, I'll just take and circle geometry, or not circle, but select it this way and hit delete. Another thing that I'll commonly do is triple click and delete, or double click and delete. You'll get the hang of it, but there's a lot of power within erasing and selections that can allow you to copy, delete, and even add geometry. We have several different shapes that we can draw that are built into the program, rectangles, circles, and polygons being the three primary ones that we use the most. They have 3D text buried down in here. I guess it's as good a place as any, but we'll get to that later on. So let's just go ahead and start with rectangles. Keyboard shortcut is the letter R. And I'm just going to start my rectangle. Then I'm going to take a look down the measurement dialog box, and I can see that I have a rectangle that's about 4 inches by 14 inches. So I can just type in 4 comma 14, and if I hit enter, that gives me a rectangle that's exactly that size. Now, what if I wanted to go the other way, so to speak? Because sometimes, I'm working in a hurry. Well, I can do that. I can just type in 14 comma 4, and it'll redraw it for me. Same shape, but I just reversed or switched the width and the height of the rectangle. Not too much to rectangles, other than I want to show you this. If I start to draw my rectangle, at any point I can go ahead and rotate it by using those 4 arrow keys that are between your keyboard and your 10 key. You've got them on your keyboard somewhere, I hope. And so if I type the up key, it constrains it so that it's perpendicular to the blue axis. Here it's now vertical, if you will, along the green axis. And here's the same thing along here. So now I could always take and rotate it, and we're going to get into the rotate tool in a couple more lessons here. But that's basically how you can just go ahead and quickly make rectangles. Okay, circles are a very common shape, so let's go ahead and cover those next. Keyboard shortcut is the letter C, so I'll just go ahead and type in a C, and then it's asking me for the center of my circle. So I'm just going to mouse down here, but before I do anything, I want to point out that the number of sides by default, the first time you start the circle command, is going to be 24 sides. Now you're thinking, well, circles are round, they don't have sides, but remember, SketchUp can only draw polygons, and so to represent circles, it makes 24 gons, although I'll show you how to change that in a minute. Before I click on anything, I'm going to go ahead and show you that you can also take and constrain it. So I can, by clicking my arrow keys, go ahead and change the plane that the circle gets drawn in. But I'm just going to go ahead and click here at the origin, and I'm going to pull out here, and that has a radius of 1 foot 11 3/8 inches. I say, oh, I want it to be just a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to type in 1 foot. And as long as I don't click anywhere before I do that, I can go ahead and resize it. As a matter of fact, if I don't like 1 foot and I want 2 feet, I can type in 24 for inches and resize it. And I can keep doing that until I get it just exactly where I want. That's common with any dimensioning that you're doing within SketchUp whenever you're drawing something. As long as you don't click anywhere, you can go ahead and change your mind. So as we zoom in here, we can see that a couple things happened. It drew a polygon with 24 sides. I guess that's called a 24 gon. And it grouped all of those edges together. Now, if you want a smoother circle, go ahead and type in C for circle, and notice where it says number of sides again is 24. I can go ahead and let's type in 100, and I'll hit enter. So now when I type in a circle, I'll just come out here, you can see that it looks much smoother, but that's actually a 100-sided polygon there. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, why not make your circles with 1,000,000 segments or sides? Well, you can do that, but it's going to start to slow down your computer, especially weaker computers like Chromebooks. So unless you really have a need to smooth a circle out, I wouldn't do it. because it's just going to slow down the computer. And if you're going to be 3D printing, you might want to bump it up a little bit depending upon what you're doing. But chances are 24 is going to work for just about anything that you go ahead and draw. Just a couple more quick things about circles. Let's go ahead and go to the top view here. Well, let's delete this outside circle just for clarity's sake. And I'm going to delete the face just so that we're left with the edges. If you're drawing a line to, say, cut part of the circle out, you can snap to the end point, which is where two of the sides meet, or you can go to the midpoint, which is the apothem, if you will, and then you could also go anywhere along the edge. So those are your three options. Now, sometimes you want to find the center of a circle, and here it's very easy because we start at the origin. But let's go ahead and draw a circle out here, and then number of sides, go back to 24, hit enter, and we'll just draw it like that. Now, if you're trying to draw to the center, sometimes you mouse around, the center doesn't show up. Here it is because it's a pretty simple drawing. But what you need to do is you need to just kind of mouse around the edge here, and the center will then show up. And even though it'll disappear, when you come back down and get close, it'll pop back up. So that's geometrically the center of this 24-sided polygon, which we call a circle. Okay, finally the polygon tool here. It doesn't have a keyboard shortcut, unlike circle and rectangle. Right now you can see we have a 6-sided polygon, but you can type in 8, hit enter, and it'll make 8 sides. Say, whoop, no, I only really want 5 sides pentagon. You can change it. As before, you can use your arrow keys to flip it around in certain planes, and then you just go ahead and draw your polygon. Now, I'm going to go to the top view here, show you just something a little bit different. Notice that I'm going ahead starting at the origin, and as I draw out my radius, my measurement is going to one of the vertexes of this pentagon. However, that's not always what you want. So if I type the Option key, see how it flips, and now it's going to what's called the apothem. That is from the center to one of the sides of the pentagon, and that measurement is perpendicular to that side. So you have that option, you can do that. Again, I'll just type Option again. You can toggle back and forth and get exactly what you want. And notice the faintly drawn circle there. That's showing you essentially, is the polygon drawn inside the circle or outside the circle. Actually, I have those reversed, don't I? But in any event, that's really all there is to polygons. They're quite handy. Again, the default number of sides is 6. However, if you change it to 5, next time you go to make a polygon, you're going to have to change it back to 6 because SketchUp is trying to help you out by remembering what you did last time. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at arcs. Remember, arcs are just part of a circle. That's all an arc is. We'll go ahead and get rid of Helen here, whatever her name is. And we have several different ways of making arcs. So let's just go ahead and click on this one here. So we can click it at the origin. We can come out and choose the arc's radius. And then we can put in the number of degrees. So if that's 90 degrees, so I'll go ahead and hit enter. But then if I change my mind and say I want a 45 degree, I can go ahead and continue to do that until I get what I want. And that's probably the most common arc tool. But here's another one that I use fairly often. Let's see, I'm just going to make a quick rectangle here. And say I want to go ahead and put a rounded top on top of that. Without doing any measurement, I can come to this arc here and click on the start, and then click on the end, and then just create a bulge, if you will. And if I mouse up here, watch that green axis line there, see, it'll stop and it'll tell me that I'm at the half circle mark. You can do the same thing with arcs that you can with circles, so I'm not going to repeat all of that information. This is a pie. The only difference with a pie is that when you go ahead and start it, when you complete it, it goes ahead and draws this last segment, or draws two segments in here rather, so to make a face or a piece of pie. Next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this cluster of tools right down here. And we're going to start with the Move tool. Keyboard shortcut is M. The keyboard shortcut for rotate is Q, not R. Remember, R is for rectangle. And scale is S. So let's go ahead and start by typing in an R, and we're going to put in a rectangle. I'm just going to make it big to make sure that it's constrained to the ground, if you will. And I'm going to make this 1.5 comma 5.5. So that's just a 1 by 6. And I want it to go 90 degrees, so I'm just typing 5.5 comma 1.5. I haven't clicked anywhere, so it'll just go ahead and rotate that for me. Now the Move tool, keyboard shortcut M, you just go ahead and select your geometry, double click on it. It's flat, I don't need to triple click. And when I type in M, it prompts me to pick a point to move it to, so I can just move it wherever I want. If I don't like it, I can grab it again by a different point. Can move it up along the blue axis, parallel to the green, parallel to the red. But I'm just going to go ahead and put it back there. So far, you're probably not impressed. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and use the push-pull tool that we've not covered yet. And I'm going to pull this up 36 inches. And now, let's see here, I'm going to go to my views here and turn on parallel projection. And we'll come into this view, and I'm going to zoom into here, and I'm going to use a line to divide the top of this. So I'm going to go from midpoint down to midpoint, and that divides this into two different faces. So I'll just click outside here. I'm going to select the line segment that I just drew, and now I'm going to type in the Move key, and I can pick anywhere. I can pick on this midpoint. In this case, I'm just going to pick out here to make a point, and then I'm going to move it up. Notice how it's drawing a blue dotted line. I'm moving it up along the blue axis. Let's see, we'll go ahead and hit escape here, and I'll just show you I can do the same thing over here. As long as it's along the blue axis, we're in good shape. So now here's where the Move tool can really save you time. I'm going to go ahead and triple click on that to select all of the geometry, and I am going to move this from here over to here. But before I click, and again, this is all keyboard work, I'm going to tap my Option or Alt key, and it'll make a copy for me. Cool? Yeah, I think so. And then I can, if I want to, I can go ahead and select this geometry here, these two fence borders. I didn't mean to select her, so I'm going to hold down the Shift key and deselect her. And I can copy, and I can paste, and it brings in two more boards. Now, let's see. So put them there, and then I can paste again and put them there and start to build a fence. But that's not a very efficient way to do it. And if we come into our top view here, you'll see that my fence boards aren't really very straight. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to show you something even cooler. I'll erase that pair, and I'll erase that single one. I'll come back into an isometric view here, and I'm going to go ahead and again tap my space bar to get my select tool, triple click on the fence post, and now I'm going to move it from here. And again, as I start to move it, I'm realizing, hey, I'm not making a copy, so I'm going to tap my Option key, and I'm going to move it down to here. Now, again, before I click on anything, this is all keyboard work. If I want, instead of one extra fence board, say I want 10 of them, I just go 10 divided by, and you'll notice it gets typed into the measurement dialog box. When I hit enter, it's going to make 10 more copies. And there we go. And they're nice and straight. And things are looking pretty good. But say I change my mind here. I say, no, they're too far apart. Well, again, before clicking anywhere, I'm just going to go 11 divided by. And divided by is the backslash key. Hit return. Okay, well, let's try 12 divided by. And let's try 13 divided by. I think you're getting the idea here, right? Actually, I'm going to go 15 divided by because I think that'll look a little bit better. Yeah, that looks better. So again, you're going to lose that command if you click anywhere along the process. Once you click or hit enter, you have to go back and start over again. It's not going to allow you to put in new elements. So now let's go ahead and talk about the rotate key. Keyboard shortcut for that is Q. First, I'm going to go ahead and triple click on one of these fence boards. I'm going to go into my top view because that'll be a little bit handier. And I'm going to click on the rotate tool. And I'll just go ahead and put my base point right here. And then I'm going to come out and click. And then I'm going to rotate around like this. And that's really about all there is to rotating, although you can rotate copy. You'll see later on a cluster or kind of a star-shaped example of fence boards. And that was a little bit clumsy, so I'm cutting that part out and showing you how you can copy rotate. I drew a circle and put an indicator here. I'm just going to go ahead and make a clock. So to do this, it's sort of same steps as the move tool basically. I select the geometry that I want to rotate. I type in Q for rotate, and first thing I need is my center point, so I'm going to choose the center of the circle or my clock, and then I'm going to come up to the top, although I could really come in anywhere. I'm just establishing a base point. So I'm just going to click here. I'm going to start to move it. I'll tap my Option or Alt key to make a copy. And then since there are 360 degrees in a circle, I divide 360 by 12, and that tells me that I need 30 degrees of rotation. So I just type in 30 and hit enter, and it puts it right there. I'm not clicking on anything else with my mouse because I want this to go around 11 more times. I don't need just one copy, although I could do this 11 times, I guess, and get the same thing. But what's much more quicker and more efficient is certainly just to type in 11x, and it'll make 11 copies for me evenly spaced. By the way, this isn't a great project to show this as an example, but you can also do the division key. So let's grab this, Q for rotate, click here, come up, come down, Option for copy, and I'll go ahead and put it right there, and then I can say 6 divided by, and it'll make 5 more in between. So you have that option as well. And so I'm going to come back to the move tool, and I'm going to click from here, and this time as I pull across, I had the wrong thing selected. There we go. Select this, M for move, and I'm going to pull this over along the green axis, tap my Option key, and this time I'm going to get my board spaced, and then I am going to, again, before finishing up my command, I'm going to go 10x, and when I hit enter, it makes 10 more boards. So with that in place, I'm going to go ahead and complete my fence, doing it the way I love to do it. That is the lazy way. My spacing's a little bit different, but that's okay. So I'm going to grab all of these face boards right here, and I'm going to fill the gap. So I'm going to click on move here, click a base point, and then move it along the red axis. Otherwise you could end up moving it up or down. And then I am going to type in Q for rotate. Again, I'm rotating the same geometry here. I'm going to come up on this corner right here, and I'm going to go ahead and just click anywhere, tap my Option key, so I'm making a copy, rotate it 90 degrees, and it's just that easy. And again, without really doing too much here, even though my fence is a little bit on the short side, I can go ahead and complete that. Now see, if I want it to snap to blue, that would be a case where I'd use my arrow keys. I should have done that to begin with here. So I'll click right here, come out. I can go to the left, right, up and down, doesn't really matter. And as I start to rotate, tap my Option or Alt key, finish up my fence. So let's take a look at just what that looks like here. Not bad. Okay, the last three elements or tools within this panel is the Scale tool, keyboard shortcut S, and you can use it to scale 2D and 3D objects. So if I select this face right here, type in S to scale it, I get these different grips. So I can grab it in the corner here, and it prompts me or tells me that that's uniform scaling about an opposite point. So I can scale it down like so. If I hold down the Option key, it scales it an equal distance from the center. And the same is true with 3D objects. So if I triple click on this to select all of the geometry and type in scale, for example, here I can make it taller or shorter, essentially the push-pull tool. I can come to a corner and scale it down from opposite vertexes, or if I type in the Option key or hold it down, essentially scales it proportionally from the center outwards. So you have these grips, and they're really very powerful and give you the opportunity to resize objects or faces very quickly. To illustrate the push-pull tool, I've gone ahead and just created some rectangles on the ground. The ground being the plane that contains the red and green axes. Let's go ahead and switch to parallel projection. So the push-pull tool is over here, and it's nested with the follow me tool and the offset tool. The quickest way to get to it is just to type in the keyboard shortcut P. And so you just click on a face, and it will create geometry perpendicular to that face, always perpendicular. And I can either click, or if I change my mind and don't want it to be 2 feet 2 3/16 inches as it says in the measurement dialog box, I can just type in 36 and it'll adjust it for me. If I want to repeat that, a 36-inch or 3-foot push-pull, all I need to do is just double click on it. Another very powerful option that you have is to click on a surface, pull it up, and then mouse over to a previous face, and it'll create a push-pull at the same height. The push-pull tool is not only used for adding geometry. For example, if I click on this, I can pull it back and forth, but we can use it for deleting geometry. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on the line tool here so that I split these two faces, and then I'll type in P for push-pull, and I can pull back and just click, or I can type in 36 inches and hit enter, and it cuts away that face for me. Now this next part you'll want to watch carefully. I'm going to use the push-pull tool to pull this face back, and when I get to this back face, notice the dual shading, the dark gray and the light gray. What that's telling me is that this face that I have a hold of and this back face are indeed in the same plane. They are coplanar. So when I click, it just goes ahead and cuts it away for me. We can do the same thing up here. And I'll just go ahead and type in R for rectangle and just draw a rectangle on this face. P for push pull. And when I mouse back carefully here, see the inference? When I click on it, it makes an opening for me or cuts away or cuts a hole in this solid. The next tool is the Follow Me tool, and the thing that you need to be careful about that is that you need to make sure that what you're asking it to extrude or to is going to be perpendicular to the lines you've drawn. So let's first of all draw our path. So I'll type in L for line, and I'll just come up here like so, and I'll come up here along the green axis, and then I'm going to go ahead and make an arc. So we'll just go ahead and click on this arc tool, and I'll click here, and I'll click down here, and then I'll bulge to make sure that it's on the same axes. Then E for erase, or erase this and this. So here I've got my path, what I want it to follow, and so now I'm just going to go ahead and create a shape. So let's do something different here. Let's go ahead and click on a polygon. My number of sides by default down in my measurement dialog box is 6 sides, so that works for me. So I'll just go ahead and make a hexagon and click on it, and now come into the Follow Me tool, which is right here, and the first thing it asks me to do is select the face to extrude. So I'll click this face here, and then I drag the face. Whoop, I accidentally stopped short and clicked, but that's okay because I can do it again and continue to follow this face. Now you have to be careful and you have to move slow because your computer is drawing or constantly drawing this extrusion here. And if you move too fast, you're going to go ahead and lose it. Yeah, see, I lost that part right down there. So let's go ahead and fix that. See, it has a empty face right here, so I can heal that by typing in the line tool. I'll click from here across to there, and it makes a face for me. And then I'll go ahead and erase that line, and then I will go ahead and click on the Follow Me tool, click this face, and then just kind of mouse down along here until I get to the origin. Now I did lose a little bit of geometry here, but again, that's not impossible to fix because 3 points make a plane. So I'll click on my line tool and click from here to here and there to there. And I've now extruded this surface in a way that would take me much, much longer to go ahead and create one line and one face at a time. By the way, now's the perfect time to talk about why some of these faces are darker than others. Remembering that SketchUp, or any 3D CAD program, is always doing math behind the scenes, these different colored faces are telling you that there's either a positive or negative value associated with that face. So, for example, if I type in P for push-pull tool and pull this one out any particular distance, it adds geometry. However, if I come up here and double click to push-pull the same value, it subtracts. So how do you fix that? I mean, it doesn't mean the geometry is bad, doesn't mean you need to start over, but how do you fix that? So we'll go Control Z, and then I'll tap the space bar to choose my select tool. So I can click on this face and then right click and reverse the face. And the problem is solved. Although we've got a whole bunch of faces here, so there must be a quicker way, and actually there is. So I'll just go ahead and delete Helen here, and then click on, say, this face right here, and choose to orient the faces. And then I'll take all of the existing faces and orient them so that they have the same values within SketchUp. So now if I push-pull this out and push-pull this out the same amount, I am adding geometry to those associated faces. Here we're going to talk about the tape measure and the Protractor tool, talk about them together. And to demonstrate that, I'm just going to go ahead and draw a rectangle here. And let's go ahead and make it 15 15 feet, comma, 6 feet. And so we'll go to our top view here. Let's go ahead and get rid of Helen. The keyboard shortcut for the tape measure tool is the letter T, and you get a little tape measure icon, and you can just go ahead and click on one vertex and then click on the other one, and you'll see that we get a little pop-up that gives us the measurement. We can also see the same value displayed in the measurement dialog box. So when I click, nothing happens other than I can just go ahead and measure from one point to another point, and it will give me whatever that value is. For me, the real power of the tape measure tool is that you can draw guidelines parallel to an edge. So I'll just go ahead, and if I want to draw a guideline halfway down, I can snap to that midpoint. I can do the same thing from here. I'm just holding down the left mouse button and dragging across. Mouse to where I want to be, and there we go. So I can then take and use that intersection to draw further geometry. Guides can be erased. So you can go ahead and erase them if you want to. They extend in both directions infinitely. However, if we bring those back, we can go to the display panel here, and you can turn off their visibility just by unchecking that box. You can also delete all the guides right here. So you have some options there. Now, what about the Protractor tool? Well, what's neat about that is that this will draw angled guides for you, and it sort of looks like the rotate tool, and I can't tell you how many times I've tried to rotate and accidentally clicked on the Protractor tool. But I can come up here, click on a vertex, and then mouse out and type in any angle I want. I'll just go ahead and click randomly, and this is true with the tape measure tool also. If I want to change that to 45 degrees, as long as I do my keyboard work and don't click with my mouse, I can type in 45 and hit enter. Likewise, let's go back, because that's really important. Let's go ahead and pull a guide down here, and I'm just going to eyeball it. Right now it's 2 feet 3 inches, but if I want it to be 2 feet, all I need to do is type in 2 feet, and it'll go ahead and move it for me. Guides, like any other geometry, they can be moved. So I could type in the move tool, select that guide, move it down, Option or Alt to copy. So I'll put it right there, and then just like move or rotate, I could go 6 divided by and get a nice grid out of it. So you can do the same thing with guides as you can anything else. The difference between a guide and a line is that this does not cut this face. So for example, if I was just to draw a line across here, that divides this rectangle into this top face and this bottom face. But guides don't attach to anything. They're just there so that you can go ahead and draw new lines or use intersections to create new geometry, and then when you're all done with them, you can just go ahead and erase them or hide them. Now let's go ahead and do a practical project, just kind of a quick one here to show you the power of the tape measure tool and guides when you're actually modeling something. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to insert a drawing or an image that I got online of a floor plan. So there it is there. Not really even quite sure what it is, but I'm going to insert it as an image, and there it is there. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it on the ground. And once again, let's just go ahead and delete Helen here. And if I'm using my tape measure tool, If I come in here and measure across this doorway, it tells me that doorway is about 3.5 inches wide. And of course, doors aren't 3.5 inches wide. They're typically about 3 or 4 feet wide. So here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to just zoom out here. I'm going to come in and click as carefully as I can. And it tells me again that the length is 3.5 inches. Now, doing just keyboard work, I'm going to instead say, nope, that's not true. It's got to be at least 36 inches wide. So I type in 36, and when I hit enter, I get a pop-up that says, do I want to resize the model? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. So when I click OK, and then come in here and do a zoom extents, now when I use my tape measure tool to measure across here, it's about 3 feet. So now that we've rescaled our drawing so the door is 3 feet wide, everything is scaled up proportionally. So let's go ahead and come up here and now lay out this room. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just going to draw a line for about, I'm just going to draw one across horizontally for now because the emphasis here is the tape measure tool. So T for tape measure, so I'm going to pull this line down. Looks like it's about 11 inches. So I'll just pull down, exaggerate, type in 11, hit enter. And then I'm going to pull down here. And interior walls are usually about 6 inches thick. So I'm going to pull down, again, exaggerate, just type in 6. And I'll do it one more time down here. And then pull down and put in a 6. So I think I've got all my horizontal lines. So next thing I want to do is go ahead and use my Protractor tool to put in that angled line. So I'm just going to click, need to zoom in here, and I'll just click up here and then pull it down until it looks like it's about right. And then I'll go ahead and do my tape measure tool, pull across here. I think we said it was 11. I'm going to go ahead and, to make sure everything is perpendicular, Protractor tool, come up to this intersection, click, and pull down 90 degrees. Yeah, there we go. So, and then just one more time across here, what do we say, 6 inches? So type in 6, hit enter, and then across here to about there, and then I'll pull across here and type in 6 and hit enter. Oh, looks like it didn't work. Let's try that again. 6, enter. Oh, it did work. I just couldn't see it because it's on this black line here. So with that in place, I can now just go ahead and click on my line tool and start to draw some of these interior surfaces. Actually, this one goes all the way across. And so there's the interior walls, and then we'll go ahead and this makes it really quick. And there's our exterior walls. And so why did I do this? Well, I'll just give you a preview here of where we're going. I'll then take and delete this interior surface and then use my push-pull tool, and I can create my walls. And I'm guessing these are probably about 15 feet tall because this is a commercial building, except I made it 15 inches tall. But all I need to do to fix that is just type in 15, and this time hit the foot symbol, and we're on our way towards recreating this building, true shape and true size. We have a couple of different options for adding text to SketchUp model, and they're completely different from each other. The first one's nested down here with the tape measure and the protractor and the section tool, and it's just called the text tool. So when you click on that, it creates for you what's called a leader. And so SketchUp right now, before I left click, is prompting me with what it thinks I'm going to want it to say. So in here we've got some measurement information. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that and replace it with the word box. And then to get out of this, just go to any other tool and it's going to leave that there for you. This is just the word box with an arrow pointing towards it. You can't work with the font. You can't make it bigger or larger. It is permanently attached to this vertex right here where I started it. I can select it, type in M for move, pick a base point, and sort of drag it around some if I want. But that's probably not really necessary because as we orbit around, the word box continues to face us. So that is just the simple text tool. It might be something that you want to use on some of your SketchUp models to help provide some clarity. Okay, my web-based version of SketchUp froze up, so I went ahead and did a save, that worked, and then refreshed the page and opened up my model. So next we're going to talk about 3D text. And you're going to find that nested here with all these other 2D objects like rectangles, circles, and polygons. I don't know why 3D text is nested with the 2D items, but that's where you'll find it. And when I'm king of the world, that'll be one of the first things that I change. So when you go ahead and select 3D text, this dialog box opens up and you can just type in whatever you want it to say. This is highly customizable. You can go ahead and pick from this list of 5 fonts. Hopefully in the future they'll have more. Over here you can choose, if available, different styles of the same font. You can set the height. Right now it's set to 1 foot. Text filled means that it's going to be a 3-dimensional component that gets added rather than flat text. And then the text extrusion refers to the thickness. In other words, how deep this text is. So I'm just going to go ahead and click OK because all of this can be changed later on. And when I do that, the cursor has the word text attached to it. And it wants to stick it to something, so I can stick it to this face, this one over here. I can put it on the top of this cylinder. And I can put it on the face of this cylinder, but it's not going to wrap around. Remember, a cylinder is actually just a whole bunch of different rectangles that are stitched together to form what looks like a cylinder. So that's what's going on here. And we'll talk about how you can go ahead and wrap text, in a manner of speaking, onto the face of a cylinder. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the word text right there on the front, and you'll notice that it has this familiar box going around it, which means that this is now a component. This being a component, I can just go ahead and select it and double click on it to go ahead and edit individual elements within this component, because this text is formed from line segments which are closed or watertight that make faces. So that being the case, I can take this T here and I'll triple click on it to select all of the faces that are connected to the T, and I can type in M to move it, click right here, and move it over if I want to. I can also type in S for scale and grab a grip and scale up the letter T. If I want to, for some reason, I can select this face here, type in P for push pull, and pull it back. Mouse over this face. I have to select it for some reason. P for push pull, and push it back the same amount. And likewise, I have to select this face separately, and I can pull it or push it back like so. So as I move around, you can see how I've gone ahead and customized this so that it looks just the way that I want it to look. So I'll click out here anywhere to close my component. And now if I want to move this component, I can do that by just typing in the M, grabbing a base point, and moving it around. Now I can't push it in and out, and that's because when you attach it is glued to the face that you attach it to. And that's by design, but I can right click on it and unglue it. So now that I have it unglued, I can type in M for move, and I can move it out along the green axis, or I can actually move it along the green axis inside so that it disappears inside that face. And that's going to be useful for us in just a little bit when we go to wrap this around a cylinder. The only other thing that I'll go ahead and mention here, I'll just click outside here, is that you can go ahead, in addition to moving it, you can scale your text just like any other component or any other group of items that are SketchUp geometry. Now, I told you I'd show you how you can wrap this text around this cylinder. Again, this isn't really a cylinder. Let's go into our display tools here and turn on hidden objects. And when we do that, you can see that this cylinder is actually made up of rectangles. They're just kind of stitched together or taped together as you would if you were making them out of cardboard. Let's go ahead and take this over here, and I'm going to go ahead and move it, and I'm going to put it sort of in front like this. I need to go to my top view here to get it just where I want it to be. So we'll go like this, and then I'll just click out here and move it about there. And let's take a look at a front view here. Yeah, that's going to work. But you can see here that the T, the E, and the X and the T are each going to intersect one of these different planes in different places. So let's go ahead and work with this particular component. Let's go to a 3D view here. I'm going to come in and do a little bit of exploding. So I'm going to triple click on my component here, actually just double click I think, and I'm going to take this right here and I'm going to make the letter T a component, and I'm just going to call it T. And so we're just going to go ahead and select OK. I'm going to do the same thing here, take this, right click, make it a component, call it E, repeat with the X, and then finally the T. Oh, we already got a T, don't we? So let's we'll make it small t. Okay. So with that in place now, I'm going to take this component and I'm going to type in S for scale, grab that back grip and scale it back so that it intersects with the cylinder. Then with my select tool, I'm going to take this component, and I've got a component inside a component here, by the way. S for scale, grab that back grip and have it intersect. You might see where I'm going here. So come in here, S for scale, and there we go, pull it back. And then finally, let's see, yeah, that one's done. And then I'm going to grab this component, S for scale, mouse over this one so that I can see the back grip, and pull it all the way back like so. So now I'll just click outside here, and you can see what I've got is the word text that is intersected with my cylinder. But I want the text to wrap around. So I'm going to go to top view, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my component, and I'm going to click on this component, and then I'm going to type in R for rotate. Oh, that's for rectangle. Q is rotate. And so let's just go ahead and pick a point about right here, click out here, and then sort of rotate it so that it's perpendicular to the face of that cylinder. Then we're going to come in here and double or triple click on this and type in Q for rotate, and I'll just kind of pick a point, come down like so, and then just sort of rotate it so that it's kind of splits the difference between them. Hit my space bar, grab that component or separate component, which is the letter X, Q for rotate, click about the same place along that face. I'll come down some arbitrary point. I'm going to kind of try to match that same angle there, and then click outside, grab this one, Q for rotate, grab it about there, come down to here, and sort of pick a spot like that. So let's take a look at a 3D view here to see what we've got. And now the letters are somewhat wrapped around the cylinder. Now at this point, it's important to note that when we zoom in here, you've got black dark lines representing your geometry. This right here is not dark, which means that it does not intersect. You don't see any intersection there. So what I'm going to do is just click on this component. Actually, I have to click outside. I'm going to grab the whole thing. You might have to grab one at a time. And I'm going to right click and intersect those faces with the model. Now, we haven't done that before. It's kind of an advanced feature, but as long as we're in text, I thought you'd enjoy this. And when I do this, look at the letter T on your screen or the letter X and watch what happens. Ah, see the magic? So we now have intersections. So what I can do is at this point, I can go ahead and come in here, use my push-pull tool. Oop, I have to select the face first. There we go. I have to open up that subcomponent or component within a component, if you will. Grab that face, push-pull tool, and I can pull in like so. And then I can do the same thing here. P for push-pull, and pull it in about the same amount. But for most people, this will go ahead and this will be just fine. I wonder what, yep, there I can grab that point right there. And then I'll go ahead and pull this in and match it up with that edge right there. I'll click outside. And again, it's not perfect. You could go ahead and come into the T here and add some extra geometry to split this if you want. But this is how you can go ahead and wrap your text around a cylindrical object. Okay, up till now we've been pretty much drawing all of our geometry in light gray or dark gray shades. So let's go ahead and take a look at the materials. We have the paint bucket, and then we have the sample material tool. So let's just go ahead and click on the paint bucket, and that's going to automatically open for you over here a palette of colors that you can choose. So if I want to choose this color right here, I can come in and color that face, that particular color, and I can go all the way around. Now I might want something different though. So I'll go ahead and click on Browse, and let's look for bricks. So go ahead and pick this particular image of bricks and paint the bricks going around like so. Now at this point, maybe the bricks are too big because these images over on the right are just JPEG images. They're just pictures of bricks. So you might want to take and scale one of these faces. And so we'll go ahead and go to texture by right-clicking on the face, and we'll choose to position it. There we go. And so at this point, you can go ahead and move this and drag it around. That's what this red grip does, to position it just the way you want it to be. I don't use this blue or yellow one very often, but you can take and move it and change the angle and skew it if you want. But that's not what we want to do. So let's see, let me get back into texture position and then take a look at this green grip, which allows you to scale your geometry, make it bigger, make it smaller, and if you want to, you can rotate it. But I'm just going to go ahead and scale it to about there, because when we take a look at Helen, that's probably about what. Now if I take and click on these bricks again and paint them, see they're bigger, aren't they? And that's not what I want. So I'm going to undo that, and then I'm going to come over here onto my panel on the left, and I'm going to choose the eyedropper tool. And when I select the eyedropper tool, I can come in and sample that particular pattern and then paint it going all the way around. Now there are textures with transparency, or opacity is probably a better word, and you'll find those under glass and mirrors. So if I click on this one right here and paste it in place, you can see that I can see through that, and that's pretty handy for water. Well, actually, here's water down here. Is that water or is that sky? Nope, this is water here. So I can click into there, and it gives just a little bit of shading here that you can take and use to represent. In fact, probably a better place to put the water would be up here on top. There we go. So that looks just a little bit more like a pool. The offset tool is nested over here with the push-pull tool, the follow me tool, and then the offset tool. So let's just go ahead and show you how it works. It's really pretty simple. So I'll just make a box and also make a circle. And then with the offset tool, you can click on a face and come inside or outside. So we'll see, it'll come in about right there. I'll just go ahead and click, and then I look at my measurement dialog box, and I notice that I clicked about 6 1/16 of an inch. So before clicking on anything else, see if I want it to be 5 inches, I just type in a 5, hit enter, and it adjusts for me. Just like the push-pull tool, I can come into this face right here, and if I double click, it makes it 5. Come in here, do it again, there's 5. So you could just, you could just continue to do that. Same thing works over here. Offsets 5 inches. And then if I want to go outside, I could just go ahead and click on this edge here, pull out, type in 5, hit enter, and that's the offset tool. This is a full-size model of the Parthenon, which is in Athens, Greece. I brought it into SketchUp for the web, or SketchUp for schools, so that I could show you what I think is a really exciting new feature. I'm recording this in December 2019. At least it's new to me. So it's to be able to search. So here we've got this model, but it's, it's kind of complicated, and there's a lot of geometry here, and it's kind of tough to make our way around. So what we can do, if we want to turn on X-ray mode, you hold down the Shift key and then the backspace key, which is on the same key as the question mark on your keyboard. And that brings up the search function, and we can just type in X, and well, went ahead and completed it for us. And so now I'll just go ahead and click on that button, and there we go. Took just a little bit of time because there's a lot of geometry in this model. And so I'll just go ahead and hit escape to make it go away. Now you can see inside. You see all the different columns. You can see the goddess Athena, the different rooms, how it's put together, etc. Now if we want to take and, for example, turn on shadows, again, I'm just going to go ahead and hold down the Shift key, hit backspace, and I'll type in light. Or I could type in shadows, and we can turn those on. And of course you can do this with any, hit escape there a couple of times. You can do this with anything. You know, if I for example just wanted to come up and get the circle command going, I can just click on it and make a circle. So the search feature is something that I know that I'm going to be using a lot more of, and I hope you find it just as handy. The Follow Me tool is one of my favorites. It's nested over here with the Push-Pull tool and the Offset tool. It doesn't have a keyboard shortcut. So what the Follow Me tool does is it takes a face, needs to be a closed face, and extrudes it along a path. So you draw the path, you draw the face, and then you go ahead and extrude it. So I've got the Follow Me tool selected, so I'll go ahead and click this face, and then as I mouse along this path, and it can be a little bit jerky depending upon how powerful your computer is, it follows that path, and you can make your way around and stop anytime you want. But see how it's kind of snapping around? And you come to the end and click. And so you can create shapes like that. However, there's a better way to do it. So I'll undo that work there. And before I do my extrusion here, the Follow Me tool, I'm going to take and select my path first. Then I'll click on the Follow Me tool. Then I'll click on my face, and boom, it does it just that quick. Now I'll go ahead and undo that and just show you one more little trick here. I'll type in F for offset, and I'll grab that circle there, and I'll come in, I'll just say 1 inch, like so. And then I'm going to delete the center of this face because your geometry does not need to touch the path. So now I'll take and select all my geometry again that makes my path. Click on the Follow Me tool. Click on that little face right there, and it makes a tube for me. And you can go in and delete the path if you want to or need to. You know, that's not difficult to do. But that's one of the options. That's a quick explanation of the Follow Me tool. But it's not just for making extrusions. Let's go to scene number 2 here. What I've got is a semicircle, although it could be any shape, and it's an enclosed path. So just like before, I'm going to select this face, then I'll click on the Follow Me tool, and when I click on this face, it makes a perfect sphere for us. Let's go to a third example here. Here I've got the makings of what's possibly the world's ugliest goblet to be. So again, I'm just going to click on my path, and I can just click on the face. I don't need to highlight the edges here. The Follow Me tool is going to know what I want to do. And there's my goblet. And of course it could be much fancier than that. But it allows you to make or revolve objects just like if you're cutting them out on a lathe. Here I've got a box and I've got a shape right here. And so what I want to do is sweep this around the top. So again, I will select this face on the top, click on the Follow Me tool, and there we go. And notice what a nice job it does on the corners. That would take a long time to do, one line, one arc at a time. Go to our last scene here. I think you're probably getting the idea. So I'm going to sweep this profile around the edge. And it doesn't need to be a rectangle. It could be any shape you wanted. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and change the shape. Make a line there. And let's just get crazy here. This might create some trouble, but we're having fun. So let's just go ahead and see what we can create. So again, I'll go ahead and select my path or the face that I want to follow. Click on the Follow Me tool, click on this face, and it did it. Now we have a little bit of goofiness right there, but that's the Follow Me tool. And like I said, once you learn how to use it, it is powerful and it's also quite a bit of fun.